Hey guys, this is Jacob O'Connor, and you're listening to the Venture Mentality Podcast. Today we have the motivational guru, Freddy Fry, joining us. Freddy learned how to handle adversity at a young age. His childhood was filled with death, abuse, and drugs. By the time he was in college, he already had 4 kids and decided to drop out. His fate ultimately seemed sealed to be the same as many others who had followed down the same path, but it wasn't. Freddy overcame his challenges and transformed into a successful business owner, world-renowned hip-hop artist, and motivational speaker, top AAU basketball coach and college graduate. Through perseverance, Freddy was able to change his life. As you continue to listen to this interview, allow his story to remind you that your future is not sealed. No matter what your situation is, you can change it. So what's up, Freddy?
Man, I'm listening to the way you read that, and I'm getting chills over here, man, and realizing I really lived that. Wow.
You
Everything's
got a great
great,
story,
man.
man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Finishing up the book now, man, finishing up the book.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it
That's
is. It really
awesome.
is. Like
So,
every damn
Freddy,
Wednesday.
I briefly touched on your journey in my introduction, but if you could kind of take us back through your childhood and then how you got to where you are today, just kind of what that looked like.
Well, we got 2 ways we can do this, and I do this all the time. Since I am like a hip-hop guy, and I took all of my hip hop for me, it kind of saved my life because I was able to write about things that were going on and release it positively, release it. So I can tell it to you in a hip hop form, or I can tell it to you just regular conversation. How you want it? You tell me.
However you prefer, man.
I do it both. Let me do it.
All right,
I like telling the story because it kind of sums up everything in a hip hop way, and it's a little original.
let's do it.
So I tapped into my wildest dreams of being great. Demons threw their hook, I almost took the bait. Was hungry for success, but couldn't get a plate. I wished for greatness early, but my genie only granted late. Mama sick, doctor's diagnosis faulty. Prescriptions messed her kidneys up, that still haunts me. They told her not to have me, but she wouldn't abort. She said no, even if it cut her life short. In the car with mama slumping, daddy speeding. Final breath was taken, left my heart bleeding. Age 4, my mommy got her wings early. I still question why she didn't live to see 30, y'all. Papa scooped me up and took me from the drama. At least it wasn't till he met my stepmama. Crazy as crazy does. She took the cake. I broke down because I felt I couldn't catch a break. Another tale of a lost soul. Study said that I wouldn't live to be old. Shy boy, hoop dreams were so cold. They used to bully me, but then I finally struck gold. 1, 2, and you don't stop. I fell in love when I got introduced to hip hop. My new release. We all need a good release. When I put my pen to pad, it gave me total inner peace. So let me introduce the new me to me. Confidence erupted. I was truly thankful, blessed. No longer just a guest in my own mind, my friends. Dig deep and you will find that greatness lives in you. So go retrieve it in your mind. Keep pushing through. Be patient. It will happen in due time. See, the fish can only bite if you keep casting out your line. So believe in you. Block out the shade and let your sun shine on through. And that's basically my story in a nutshell.
Man, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm working on a new album too, and it's a song called "Believe in You," and that's the actually the opening verse on that song and the opening verse for the new project. And I thought that captured a lot of the essence of my story. And
That's
so I like
awesome.
to say that verse. Yeah.
So that was really cool. Do you want to walk us through it now, just conversation wise?
Yeah, just conversation, man. It's so funny because my mom passed when I was 4 years old, and I basically remember three things from my mom. I remember being in the garage with my father working on his motorcycle, and there was a fire. I guess oil, and I don't know what happened. It was hot, and the oil hit something, and it was a fire. Daddy got burned over a large percent of his body, had to get skin grafts and all that. And somehow my mom grabbed me. I was sitting on the little staircase, grabbed me, threw me in, and went and put him out. And I remember that. I remember being in the car with my mom, taking her to the hospital, which ultimately will be the last time that I would see her alive. And then I remember being at the funeral, not understanding what a funeral was, and just seeing people going up, to basically paying their respects to my mom, basically crying. And in my mind, I thought, why is everybody going up there crying over my mom? I didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom passed away, and of course, where we're from, most of the time, if the mom and the dad are not together, which my mom and the dad wasn't together at the time, most of the time you would go live with your grandma, you go live with an auntie. But my
Mhm.
dad wouldn't let that happen, so he took me in. But he worked a lot, and so he wind up dating a young lady that ultimately eventually became my stepmom, and she was very mentally abusive. She was alcoholic. She did drugs, smoked weed, started smoking crack. So I had to deal with that in the household. On the outside, I was a shy, introverted kid. Wasn't very tall. I love sports. I love playing basketball. I love playing football.
Mhm.
But I was bullied. I got bullied. I mean, one time I got bullied. I was like probably in about the 6th grade, and I was headed home, and I looked up, and there was 3 or 4 guys that were chasing me that started chasing me as I headed home through a field. Right across the street from that field was a swimming pool. So they called me and roughed me up pretty good, and they drugged me to the swimming pool. And the swimming pool was actually open, but it was, I mean, it was swimming. It was season. It was a season for swimming, but it wasn't open. But there was like a little cut in the fence where somebody had cut the fence so they could sneak in when it wasn't open. They
Mhm.
drugged me through that fence, threw me in the water, and just held me up under the water. You know, I thought I was gonna die. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sitting there, I'm fighting and fighting, trying to get up, and they just holding me up under the water. And yeah, I thought I was, like I said, I thought I was a goner. And at the last second, they pulled me up, and they just jumped out of the pool, laughing. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, man, I'm sitting, standing there, just crying.
Mhm.
And so instead of just getting out and running home, I just got out and just sat on the side of the pool.
Mhm.
And I just was like, I just have to. I remember telling myself there's got to be a way for me to stop being bullied. And I just kind of prayed for him, and I was like, God, just give me something, give me a sign, give me some type of strength to be able to fight off what I'm going through. Because I was a smart kid too.
Mhm.
But and I remember that moment. And shortly after that, I was watching. I was up late, and we didn't have very many TV channels, but there was one where this show called Night Tracks came on. It was kind of like a music video show,
Uh-huh.
and they played a song by a group called Run DMC called uh called Rock Box, and I just instantly became this Run DMC fan, And
Mhm.
again, I was a sports guy, so I was trying to play basketball, I was trying to play football, but at that very moment, I became a hip hop fan,
Mhm.
and I actually wanted to do hip hop. And so there was only one problem though. I was introverted. I was shy. So it wasn't like I was gonna get in on stage or in front of people at that moment in time. I hated when a teacher would call my name in class to just answer a question, and they would always call on me because they knew I would have the right answer. But I hated it, And if I had an opportunity to decline, I would always decline. Let somebody else do it. So I asked my dad if he would give me some equipment. I thought I was going to be a DJ and a rapper and all that, and I just wanted the enjoyment of it at home. And
Mhm.
so he did, and I continue following Run DMC and started kind of getting into hip hop a little bit. And I started writing my own raps. They would be the king of rock, and so if I'll take their rap and I'd make myself be the king of rap. And so I started writing. And time I got to about the 9th grade, it was a local guy, a friend of mine that lived in the neighborhood. He came over to my house. And he's like, man, I know you got this music equipment, and imagine you writing raps and stuff. He said they're having a talent show at our high school. He said I'd love for you to be in it with me. I'm like, you mean like get up in front of people and rap? I was like, no, I won't be doing that. I said I respectfully decline your offer.
Mhm.
This guy was persistent though, and for the next 2 weeks, and I'm not kidding, the next 2 weeks he came over. Day 1, no. Day 2, no. Day 3, no. Day 4, no. Day number 14, though, he hit me with a different approach. And so crazy because deep down inside, I wanted to do it. I just had this fear. I couldn't overcome the fear of the stage fright and the shyness and all that. And he just came over and said, dude, I've been coming over every day. He said, I ain't going to stop until you do it. He said, so you might as well stop acting like a little old punk and come on and be in this talent show with me. I was like, oh, he hit me with the punk. I said, I'm not no punk. Before I even knew it, I was like, I'll do it.
Mhm.
And then I'm just sitting there like dumbfounded, realizing I'm just committed to do something that I wanted to do, but was afraid to do. And that guy's name was Ernest Walker. And I always feel like people need an Ernest Walker in their life, especially when they have something in them. And sometimes somebody on the outside can see what you have in you more than you do. And
Mhm.
we all need somebody to push us to be be as great as we potentially can be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to do it and had to overcome my fear. And so I told myself, at that time I was writing raps, and I was just basically writing copy raps, you know. So I was just basically doing like Weird Al Yankovic type things, where I was just taking somebody's rap and just rewriting it and making it my own. So I decided for that I was gonna write my own rap. And it wasn't even a talent show. It was just the tryouts. But I practiced, and I was in the mirror, and I was psyching myself up, and I was giving myself positive personal motivational talks that said I can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it.
Uh-huh.
And then the day of the tryout came, and they called us up, and of course my heart is beating, and I'm sweating, and I'm scared, and it's no more than 20 people in the audience, just the people that were trying out.
Okay.
But I felt like it was 20,000, trust me. And so the beat came on, took a deep breath. I was like, call me Mr. Chiller, don't call me at all. Because when I'm on the mic, I'm standing tall. I'm 5'4" when I'm talking to you. But when I'm on the mic, I'm 7'2". You know, that's exact rap that I said. But a strange thing happened, though. All of a sudden, everything changed. All the shyness went away. All my fear went away. And I felt like euphoric. I felt like I was on top of the world. I was like, oh my God, I like this. Whatever this is, this high,
Uh-huh.
I have to have more of this. Changed my life. Changed my life. I went from being bullied, walking around the halls, nobody knowing me, to after the talent show, all of a sudden people talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, all of a sudden people asking me to rap. You know, hey, it's lunchtime. Man, can you rap? When you knew people beatbox back then. And so I'd be rapping in lunchtime, and then I'll be after the football games battle rapping people, and it
Yeah.
just changed my whole life. And you know, that piece of my story is just, if you have something that's inside of you, if you have a gift, something that you're scared to pursue, you have to overcome the fear. You have to find a way to overcome the fear, because not only does the world need it, but you need it. It's therapeutic therapy for you, and very therapeutic when you release it, because from that point, all the things that I was dealing with, my stepmom, being bullied, everything I was dealing with, I started writing about. I
Mm-hmm.
started making songs, and it just grew from there. And I became like I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm one of the founding fathers of hip hop in Oklahoma. Pretty much anything that happened success-wise in hip hop in Oklahoma, I was one of the first ones to do it. Me and my group, or me and my best friend D, and it just took a life of its own.
That's
But at the
awesome.
same time that I was doing my hip hop, I was living reckless.
Uh-huh.
I was, you know, I wind up having kids out of wedlock with one lady, and it's so crazy because we had a group. I started it was a rap group we were in called the DC Boys, and it was 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, me and another guy, who's my best friend to this day, we were the same grade, and the other 2 guys were a year older.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they graduated. We were seniors, and we still was doing our rap thing. We still were very popular.
Uh-huh.
But all of a sudden, they started coming over my house having money.
Uh-huh.
And money, like real money. Like, I used to sell candy for this company called Mid America Teens, and we'd get like 75 cents for every candy bar or candle or whatever we sold. And I'd have like $15-$20 in my pocket. And I thought I was balling out then.
Yeah.
These dudes were having hundreds though.
Oh,
They
man.
was coming over my house with $1,000. And in that day and age, that was unheard of, you know. And I'm like, what in the world are y'all doing to get this money?
Mm-hmm.
And they were straight up, we're selling crack, we're selling drugs, because it was so new,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that they had no fear. And I was like, man, y'all crazy, you know, I can't believe y'all doing that. And not thinking nothing of it. So we're doing music. They wind up falling off of the group because they started getting so heavy in the streets. So it wound up just being me and my friend D.
Uh-huh.
But I'm still living life, having babies.
Mm-hmm.
My girl at the time, she lived in the projects. So when I'm in the projects visiting her, you saw all the people that were out there selling drugs, all the people out there gambling and doing all the things they were doing. And
Mm-hmm.
they knew that I had friends that were selling drugs. I was broke, and I had babies. And so I had people that continued to come up to me saying, dude, you don't have to sell it. If you just get it and give it to me, I'll give it back to you, and you can take your cut off of it.
Hmm.
And I finally broke. went to my guy and said, man, I got this baby. I ain't got no money. They need diapers. They need milk. You know what I mean? They need all kind of stuff. I need
Uh-huh.
some money. And so all of a sudden, I was scared to death, but I decided to do it, and I did. I got the drugs. I would take it to them and to the people in the projects. They would sell it. One problem is the guy that I was giving it to, he started smoking he started smoking crack. And so that didn't work anymore, but I kind of got used to having a little bit of money in my pocket, so I tried to psych myself up. Unfortunately, this is a negative psych up. Unlike I psyched myself up to become a rapper, I psyched myself up to actually sell the drugs myself, which was definitely not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And so we were in another project, and I finally talked myself into doing it. I had a little bit of drugs. Well, my girl's friend, her husband at the time, he was a big drug dealer. So we went over to their spot and was trying to sell in their projects. So me and him left to go over my dad's house.
Yeah.
Came back, and when you drive in their project, you can see, as soon as you come in, you can see directly through to see their apartment. And we thought we saw police cars. Heart just dropped. And so we come around the corner, and we didn't see him no more. And we were like, oh, thank goodness. But when we pulled up to his apartment, his wife's mom ran out holding their 2 kids, saying they just came and raided the house, and they took the 2 girls to jail. And come to find out, my kid's mama, my girlfriend, put all the drugs on her, because there was a myth in the hood at the time that if the police raid and you're female, if you put the drugs on you, they won't search you. And that was wrong. So she put he had like an ounce, which is about $1,000 worth of drugs. She put it in her pocket. I had about $50 worth. She put it in her bra. So they charged her right there on the spot with the drugs, with the $1,000 worth of drugs. When they got her and booked her in to Tulsa County Jail, they found the other 50, which they call contraband. So she got another charge on the contraband. So they knew she wasn't the one selling it. His wife told the police she wasn't selling it. It's not none of our drugs. It's my husband's drugs. She basically told him. Here's what's crazy. This is something I always look at my life, and I always think about my mom as being my guardian angel. I had a little bit of drugs there. My name never came up. They took the little contraband charge and they threw it out. Throughout that whole ordeal, my name never came up. That was definitely a sign from God, right?
Yeah.
And so I just prayed. I said, God, if you get me out of this and get my girlfriend out of this, I'll never touch drugs again, because it wasn't for me anyway. I never had the heart to be a dope man. Those are more things that I wrote about. And so she wound up getting off. My name never came up. He wound up getting 5 or 10 years behind that.
Jeez.
Yes. And so I was like, listen, and of course, I was done. No matter what, I was never going back to selling drugs, because I wasn't a drug dealer to begin with. And so I was blessed to get out of that. And so we had tough times, me and the girlfriend, and we broke up, but we had 4 babies. The time I was 25, I had 4 kids that I couldn't take care of, that I couldn't afford. And I was lost. And again, where I'm from, you never think about keeping the kids. I'm a daddy. I'm going to try to help. So I was there once or twice a month, seeing the kids and getting them and taking them places. But for me, it all kind of came to a head for me. When I went and got my kids, and I had this van, and we were hanging out, we were driving. I got pulled over, had warrants for my arrest. 4 kids in the car with me. They took me to jail in front of my kids.
Oh.
Yes. And so I'm in jail, and once again, just like when I sat on the side of that pool, I'm praying to God. God, I need a sign. This is, this is not what I'm meant to be. I need a way to figure out how to think differently, how to look at life differently. And I just said a prayer. And, I don't know what happened, but it must have set something in motion within the universe. And so I get out of jail. And again, the kids are still living with their mom. I just got them every other week or so, whatever the case was, living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Went to bed at age 26. And normal night. Nothing different. Did what I normally do. But I woke up different. When I woke up, I just laid in my bed and I just stared at the ceiling.
Yeah.
Because something in me was different. Like, in life, you can be blinded, and you can be living foul, and you can be doing all the wrong things, and you really just oblivious to it. Like when you're young, you just don't have, you just living. You don't realize how stupid the stuff is you're doing. But at that
Yeah.
moment in time when I woke up, I call it the epiphany.
Uh-huh.
I realized it. I was like, oh my God. I could see how all the mistakes I made. I could see how I messed my credit up. I could see how deep of a hole I was in. And what's so crazy is the first thing that I thought, the first concrete thought I had was, I got to get my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I have to gain custody of my children, because I was living out south, so I was at least living in a better place, in an apartment out there.
Yeah.
They were living in the hood, in Tulsa. The hood is north, in North Tulsa. They were living deep north. All the drugs, all the murders, they were living there. And what's so crazy is that once change happens to you, and it's people, and the universe knows it's real, the universe conspires to make things fall into place for you. And that's kind of what happened, because shortly after I had that epiphany, their mom called me, and she
Mm-hmm.
asked me if I would get the kids. She said, I'm going through a rough patch right now. Can you keep the kids for a little bit? And I was like, yeah, I'll get them. I was more ready. I wasn't necessarily ready, physically or financially, but mentally I was ready. I was in a different space. So I was like, I'll get them. So I got them, brought them out to the house. Of course, I don't know, I got 4 kids that's there to basically staying in the house with me. I didn't have another room, but they were happy sleeping on the pallet. They were excited.
Uh-huh.
She called me back about a week later and said, hey, I'm feeling a little bit better. My mind is in a better place. Can you bring the kids back? And I said, yeah, I'll bring them back under one condition. She said, what's that? I said, well, if you call me again, I'm going to go ahead and gain custody of them and let them live with me. And of course, she thought I was just full of it. She's like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So I took the kids back, had a call. I got a call from a young lady that was telling me, she was like, you really need to get those kids. They're in a really bad environment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of negative things that they're surrounded by, guns and drugs and all kind of bad things. And so I was like, oh, okay. I kind of already knew. But another week or so, she called me back and asked me to get them again. I said, well, now, I'm going to keep them this time. And of course, she still didn't believe me.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I got them, first thing I did is I went and withdrew them from the school that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
Now I go into that school. I ain't had no paperwork or nothing. I'm a black guy going there to withdraw 3 kids from a school,
Yeah.
which never would happen in this day and age.
Yeah.
And I guess they were thinking, ain't no way, ain't no way a guy's just gonna come get 3 kids if they not his.
Yeah.
Of course, they have my last name though too. But I kind of told the teachers and things what I was doing, and they were just excited for the kids. They were like, "That's a really good school you're putting them in, and they're gonna do well." And da 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 da. So I went and withdrew them and enrolled them in the school I was in, and then it was on.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, a week later she called back, asked me to bring the kids back. And I was like, they don't even go to the same school anymore. She was like, what? I said, I told you if you call me back, I was gonna keep them. And so we had a big conversation, and I just poured my heart into it. I said, listen, I'm in a better place, a little bit better place than you are right now. Give yourself some time to do what you need to do. And I got the kids, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
she reluctantly agreed. And what's so crazy is that we never went to court. There was never any court proceedings or anything like that. But my kids were 3, the youngest was 3, the oldest was 7. 3 girls and a boy, which meant I had to learn how to do hair for girls. And that was crazy, But I knew I made the right decision, because shortly after that, the guy that she was dating got murdered.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so I knew I made the right decision, but it just started from there. And that was a whole that moment in time when I gained custody of my kids, and I call it hood custody because we never went to court.
Yeah.
But that was when my life really changed. When when I had the epiphany, gained custody of my kids, I actually stopped doing music. And I was actually doing well. I had got a national distribution deal. I still stayed in Oklahoma, but I just didn't have the heart for it no more. I knew that my whole focus in life was pouring into my children and keeping them out of harm's way and trying to teach them right from wrong. And so that's up to that point. I don't know if you want to jump in and ad lib anything, or I can continue. However you want me to do it.
Well, I mean, just looking back at the story is kind of crazy. Like, it all starts off with the guy who wanted you to do the talent show, and it's kind of funny how it's like the things that we're most scared to do in life are often the things that we should do, and
Yes.
your story is really just a testament to that. And then you went through these challenges, and then ultimately you came out the other end. And a lot of people can't say that they would have came out of that situation like you did. So the whole thing is just a really inspiring story.
Man, I appreciate it, man. And I just look at it because at that moment in time when I gained custody of my kids, I was in a deep hole. I was in a
Mm-hmm.
physically, financially deep hole,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't mentally no more.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, I had set myself free. When I had that epiphany, and I always say, it was an epiphany or my cerebral cortex in my brain developed, one of the two, something happened.
Yeah.
But I wasn't mentally there no more. I know mentally, I knew where I was going. I knew my thought process. In my music, before I had the epiphany, I had profanity. There was always profanity in my songs. They
Yeah.
were saying positive stuff though. I
Mm-hmm.
was always had a message, which was a little different than most, but they had profanity in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I stopped doing music, it's so crazy. I went back to the thing that I originally liked to do. Of course, I was raising the kids and trying to make ends meet. I was never a traditional job type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom wasn't there out here in life to help me raise my kids. My daddy was too busy. So basically I had to figure out how can I generate income legally
Mm-hmm.
or as close to legal as possible and
Mm-hmm.
still be here to raise these babies. Because I didn't, I never got any help from the state or government. I never was on food stamps. I never got food stamp. Uh, uh, welfare or anything like that. And
Mm-hmm.
people always say, "Why you ain't doing it?" For some reason, I probably should have, but I never did. And so I just took what I knew how to do. I just started making CDs, and I became the CD man, and which I hated.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go to mom and pop hair salons and barbershops, and on a weekend and sell CDs. And then I had like a little distribution network of stores in my
Mm-hmm.
region that I would sell mixed CDs to, and I hated it, but it helped me generate enough income to take care of our household. But I had to make a choice. I had to make a decision, and I had to jump again. I had to step out on faith, and I had to believe in myself. And I tell people all the time, I bet on myself, and I hit
Mm-hmm.
on my bet. Sometimes you got to bet on yourself, and it ain't gonna be easy. But if you sit down and you figure out what gaps, what problem can you solve, and you put a plan into motion, and you shake hands, and you was never gonna do another profane rap in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got with my guy D, and I said, let's go clean up some of our songs. My kids got older. I said I would never let them listen to my other songs because they had profanity in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we cleaned them up, and I started doing new songs, and
Mm-hmm.
crazy stuff happened during that time. Is that I got a call from a guy that wanted to buy some of my old music.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, yeah, I mean, sure. I got some of that album. I had finished an album right before I got my kids that I never promoted. And so he was wanting to buy them off of me for $20 a piece, which
Okay.
is unheard of,
Yeah.
you know. So I sold him. I was selling him 20 CDs for $20. He sent me $400. Called me back a week later. Said, you got some more of them CDs? I said, yeah. So let me get 20 more. Send them to him again. Call me back the third time. Said, dude, I need some more of them CDs, but why have you never asked me what I'm doing with your CDs? I said, well, shoot, I'm just over trying to make ends meet, and I couldn't imagine you doing anything illegal. Asked me if I was by a computer. I said, yeah. He said, go to eBay. Went to eBay. Said, put in Player 1000. My jaw pretty much dropped and hit the floor when I saw what I saw. He was doing an auction of my CDs.
Uh-huh.
For somehow, I remember I told you we had a national distribution deal. Well, it turns out it was an international distribution deal,
Oh man.
which I never knew.
Yeah.
They were auctioning my CD, one CD.
Yeah.
People were paying about $500 for one CD.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, they would put it on a 7-day auction.
Uh.
You would have hundreds of bids on the CD. I said, dude, how did this happen? He said, man, he said, what I do is I have a independent CD business that I run online.
Mm-hmm.
And people look for things that are either collector's items for some reason or out of print.
Uh-huh.
And I send out feelers to all my customers, and I say, who are some artists you'd like to hear? Or like me to get CDs of? And he said, your name, Player 1000, always came up.
Uh-huh.
And so here's what's so crazy. Now he was paying me $400.
Uh-huh.
He would sell one CD for $500 or more.
Uh-huh.
But there were losing bids. So whoever bid 501, there was somebody that bid $499 and lost.
Yeah.
$498 and lost. $497 and lost. $450 and lost.
Mm-hmm.
Once the auction was over, All he had to do was go back and send them second chance offers, and they would pay what they bid. So he was making almost $10,000 off of 20 CDs.
That's a crazy business model.
That's
That's
the
awesome.
craziest thing ever. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
how would you figure something out like that? But, you know, and so we started doing business together. It was a, man, it was, again, like I say, the universe and my guardian angel, my mom, whenever I really needed it, things like that happened.
Hmm.
And so we did great business. And I tell that story to say that once we got back into music, I had a guy reach out to me from Tokyo, Yokohama, Japan.
Yeah.
Wanted to buy some of the older music as well as the newer music. He said, I want to bring you and D over here to perform. How much do you
Man.
charge? Told him the price, told him everything that we needed. So a couple of years ago, we went and performed several sold out shows in Tokyo, Japan, and Yokohama. Unbelievable experience. Signing autographs, grown men crying. I mean, true fans over there. And all that stuff happened because of everything that we went through.
Yeah.
And so from there, we just, you know, I got into the motivational speaking, hooked up with Motiversity, hooked up with Fearless Motivation, hooked up with the #1 speaker in the world, Dr. Eric Thomas. And now I'm an Eric Thomas certified motivational speaker. And all I'm doing is trying to help people, like normal, everyday people, overcome whatever hurdles, whatever obstacles, whatever drama or trials and tribulations they're facing. I try to help them overcome, climb their hump, and make every day of their life a Wednesday. That's my whole mission in life as I sit on this phone, on this call with you right now.
Man, that's crazy. That's an awesome mission that you have, that you're really looking to make a difference in people's lives like that.
Yes, sir.
And I was looking at the YouTube channels, and they have over 3 million subscribers combined. That's a crazy amount of people that you're reaching.
Oh my God, it's unreal. I'm probably the voice of well over 100 million views, and you know, the one that I'm probably most proud of. I'm proud of the fact that now I'm walking with. You know, I was able to go to. I shadowed. I went to Las Vegas with Eric Thomas for the
Hmm.
Thrive conference
Hmm.
not too long ago. You know, and I'm walking with him, and it's just a big deal. You know,
Hmm.
and I'm just walking around, and I'm on these voiceovers with Eric Thomas, with Les Brown, with Zig Ziglar, with Gary V. But I think the one I'm most proud of is the one that I'm on with Denzel Washington called Smile. I mean, called Gratitude and
Yeah.
Say Thank You. And this has like, oh, I don't know how many views that thing got, but it's millions and millions. But it's him and then it's me, you know, and it's like, I'm like, this is unbelievable.
That's
To
crazy.
think of where I came from. To think
Uh-huh.
of being in my apartment. I remember being in my apartment when I only had $500, and somebody from maintenance broke in my apartment and stole my $500, which was my rent money. And
Hmm.
just sitting there, just thinking about how, not knowing how I'm gonna come up with that rent money. You know what I mean? That to overcome all the things I've been through in my life. I'm just telling anybody that's listening, you may be facing something right now. You may be going through something, and you cannot see light at the end of the tunnel. You
Uh-huh.
cannot see why it will happen for you, why it can happen for you. You feel like it can never happen for you. It can. I'm a regular person, and I'm not even at the, you know, the million trillionaire status. I'm
Yeah.
just doing better than I was. And
Hmm.
sometimes just doing better than you was is better than where you at right now.
Hmm.
And you're way ahead of most people.
Hmm.
But you got to believe, and you got to realize it can happen for you. If you start believing, and the universe knows in your heart of hearts you're believing, it will conspire to start making things happen seemingly out of the blue that will help you transform and go to the next level of your life. As a coach, most of the championships I won, and I've won a lot,
Hmm.
always typically came when we were losing in a game and we had to
Hmm.
come back and win. And what I'm telling you is that you can rebound,
Hmm.
come back and win in your game of life too. Don't ever forget that. Start right now, start today, make that change, start pushing yourself to the greatness that you deserve. You inherited, it's yours.
Wow. That rebound analogy, I really like that. And I think that's very symbolic to your life, just everything you went through. And then now you're on a platform where it's like you can look up a video on YouTube and you're speaking with Denzel Washington with millions of views and Eric Thomas and all these famous people. I'm sure that's absolutely mind blowing for you.
It is. It really is. It really is. It is. But hey,
So,
I just tell people you can do it though, because I never
mhm,
would have thought you can. You
mhm.
can do it. I promise you.
So for anyone interested or that would want to reach out to you, where can we find you online?
It's pretty much everything is Freddy Fry or Freddy Fry Motivation. So
Hmm.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I would love for you guys to join my Wednesday family on Facebook. Join our Wednesday family group. I mean, it's a group of overcomers and survivors that are all there to help push each other to greatness. It is a judgment-free zone,
Mhm.
and all we do is put people in position to win, and we push people to be the best versions of themselves, and are there to just sometimes just listen. People
Mhm.
reach out to me on all the time and tell me their stories and tell me what they're going through, and they may write me a doggone essay about what they're going through, and my first reply is, hey, did you just need to release? Because that's okay. Or would you like
Mhm.
some advice? And
Yeah.
that's what the Wednesday family is about. You can release positively because you got to get it out your system,
Mhm.
or we can help you.
Mhm.
So Freddy Fry or Freddy Fry mode. Oh, FreddyFri
Mhm.
on all platforms. You can
All
find
right.
me.
I'll put your links in the comment section whenever I post this so that everyone can find you.
Yes.
Um,
And
uh,
FreddyFry.com as well.
all right. So we're almost out of time, but before you go, I've got one last question,
Sure.
and this is kind of like my end-all question. It's when you die, the only thing that matters is the difference that you made on this earth. With that being said, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
I want people to remember me as a person that left this earth a little bit better than he found it.